Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today we are continuing our unit on money, and we are going to be talking about how to find the change. Before we get into it, though, we're going to do a quick review of our coins and their values, and also our cash in US dollars. So first of all, we have the penny. The penny is worth 1 cent. Next, we have the nickel, and the nickel is worth 5 cents. Next, we have a dime, and it's worth 10 cents. And then we have a quarter, which is worth 25 cents. We have our $1 bill, and if you'll look closely, you'll see that the sign has actually changed from a cent sign to a dollar sign. That's because after we get to 100 cents or above, we start calling those dollars. It's a lot easier to say $1 than 100 cents. So we have our dollar sign and our decimal point. Our decimal point separates our cash value or our dollar value from our change value, okay? So this is our dollar bill. Next, we have our $5 bill. We have our $10 bill, our $20 bill, our $50, and our $100 bill. All right, let's talk about how much quarters are worth. 1 quarter is worth 25 cents. 2 quarters is half of a dollar, which is 50 cents. 3 quarters, this is always the hardest one to remember, is 75 cents. And 4 quarters is, of course, a dollar. If you're having trouble remembering how many quarters are in a dollar, I want you to think about the fact that the quarter and the dollar bill both have George Washington on them. And if you lay out a $1 bill, it has 4 corners because you need 4 quarters to make a dollar, okay? Next, let's talk about what our keywords mean today. First of all, we talked about total in our last video. Total means to just add up the amount of money or items that we are adding together to get a total. So like when you're going to the grocery store and you're just like swiping things that goes beep, 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 you are checking things in and it's adding up on the screen. Your total is getting larger and larger and larger. Okay, now change is how much change you're going to get back. It means to subtract one amount from another to see how much change there would be. So change is when you go to pay for the total and whatever you get back. So let's say our total was $15 and I paid with a $20 bill. They wouldn't keep the whole $20 bill. They would owe me $5 in change because 20 minus 15 is 5. So change means to subtract. So total means to add because this T looks like a little plus sign right here. And then change means to subtract. So remember that. Okay, let's talk about our first subtracting change problem. So it says Tiffany bought some Skittles for $2.45. She paid with $3. How much change did she get back? This is how we're going to set up the problem. We know that it is change, so we're going to have to subtract. When you subtract, the largest number has to go on top. So I'm going to put $3 on top minus $2.45 directly below that. I have my ones placed, my tens placed, my decimal points, and my hundreds placed, and my dollar signs all lined up. So we're looking at 0 minus 5. Now, when we are subtracting, you need to remember our chant. More on the floor, go next door. More on top, no need to stop. Numbers the same, 0 is the game. So for this, we have 0 and 5. 0 is less. So there's more on the floor here, so we have to go next door. But there's nobody home. So we're going to have to go next door again. Now we're going to take one from the 3 and make him into a 2. And then that's going to make this 0 into a 10. I'm going to take one from him and give it to this guy right here because you can only share with your next door neighbor. And this makes him a 10. Now I can take one from the 10 and give it to this guy. So we're going to change him into a 9 and make this 0 into a 10. And now we can subtract. 10 take away 5. If I do 10 take away 5, that leaves me with 5. Next I have 9 take away 4, that also leaves me with 5. Bring down your decimal point, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So we have 55 cents of change that she should get back. Now, let's think about how we could make this with coins. First of all, we always want to try to use the largest coins. So let's think about what is the largest coin that we use? If you said quarter, you are correct. Let's see if we can use a quarter. Well, a quarter is worth 25, so we can use at least 1 quarter without going over. What about 2 quarters? 2 quarters gives us what? 50, yes. So we could use 50 cents because that gets us really close to 55. After that, we need a cent that is worth, or a coin that is worth 5 cents. what coin would that be? If you said a nickel, you are correct. So we're going to use 2 quarters and a nickel to show what change she should get back. She should get 25, 50, 55 cents. So this is what her change should look like that she gets back. All right, let's look at another one. Evan bought some gas for his car for $4.23. He paid with a $5 bill. How much change should he get back? So I don't see 2 numbers here. Do you? Now, how are we going to know what to subtract from? Read carefully. It says he paid with a $5 bill. So if he paid with a $5 bill, then that means that is going to be our top number because that is bigger than $4.23. So we're going to set it up with $5 minus $4.23. Remember, we are subtracting because we are finding the change. All right, so first of all, we're going to look at 0 minus 3. There's more on the floor, so we have to go next door, and there's nothing home, so we have to go next door again. We're going to knock, 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 see if anybody's home. There is. So the 0 is going to borrow 1 from the 5, and the 5 is going to become a 4, and the 0 is going to become a 10. Now we can take 1 from this 10, make it a 9, and give it to this 0, and make it a 10, and we can subtract. 10, take away 3. If you put 3 in your head and count up to 10 to find the difference, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is 7. Next we have 9 minus 2. So I can put 2 in my head and count up to 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, also 7. And then 4 minus 4 is 0 because number's the same. 0 is the game. Bring the decimal point down and a dollar sign. So we are left with just change. We have no cash because when we subtracted 4 minus 4, that gave us 0. So how could we make 77 cents in change? Well, let's think about quarters. Let's see how many quarters we could use first. I've got 1 quarter, that's 25 cents. 2 quarters is 50, so we could at least use 2. What about 3 quarters? 3 quarters would take us to 75. That's really close. What about 4 quarters? No, we can't use 4 because that's $1. So let's go back to 3. $3 is 75 cents, and we are not over, so we can use that. And then we need to get to 77. So how could I get from 75 to 77? I could use change that is worth 1 cent. 76, 77. So 2 pennies. So I have 3 quarters, which is 75 cents, 76, and 77. All right, our last problem. The reason why I want to show you this one is because it's a 2-step problem, and you are going to see these sometimes. So bear with me and don't freak out, okay? First of all, the problem says Lauren bought a coconut and an apple. She paid with $2. What is her change? So we have to do a couple of different things here. First of all, it wants to know what her change is. We know that she paid with a $2 bill, so we're going to do 2 minus something. What do you think we're going to subtract from $2? It says she bought a coconut and an apple. And if we look down here, a coconut and an apple costs 78 cents and a coconut costs 85 cents. So we're going to subtract both of those from $2. That's right, we are. But before we can subtract those 2 things from $2, we're actually going to add them together to get our total. This is just like if we're going by the grocery store, right? You're going to want to add up your items first to get the total, and then you're going to want to subtract to get the change. You're not going to want to give the cashier a $20 bill and her trying to make change for every single item you buy. That would just take for super long. So we're going to cut down on time and find out our total. On the 2 problems before this, we had already had the total given to us, okay? So this is the difference. Here we're having to find the total because we don't have the total yet. Okay, we have to figure out how much a coconut and an apple cost together. Then we'll take that total and subtract it from $2 to find the change. So let's look at 85 cents plus 78 cents because we're finding the total. And remember, total means to add. So we're going to do 5 plus 8. If I put 8 in my head and count up 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can't put my 13 in the ones place. Only one number can live at there at a time, so we're going to put the 3 down here and carry our plus 1 over to the tens column. Next, we're going to add 1 plus 8 plus 7. 1 plus 8 is 9, and then 9 plus 7. Put 9 in your head and count up 7 more. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I'm going to put 16 here. Now, this is different because we are switching to a dollar sign now instead of a cent sign. That is because our total is much more than 100 cents. It is now over $1. So when we added these together, we now have to add a decimal point for that 16 because we have to have a differentiation between the change and the cash amount. Okay, we have to have something there dividing up the two because we got rid of the cent sign. Okay, so we have $1.63 as our total. Now we can see what her change would be by subtracting this amount from $2. It says she paid with a $2 bill, so we're going to do $2 minus $1.63. We found our total. Now we're going to subtract the total from what she paid with to get the change. We cannot do 0 minus 3, so we're going to go next door. Nobody home, so we have to go next door again. The 2 is going to become a 1, and we're going to give the 1 that we took from the 2 to the 0 to make it 10. Now we're going to take 1 from the 10, make it into 9, and then make this 0 into 10. And now we can subtract. 10 take away 3 is 7. 9 take away 6 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0, so we're left with 37 cents. Now, let's figure out how to make this with change. First of all, let's see if we can use a quarter. 1 quarter is 25 cents, so we can use 1 quarter. 2 quarters is 50 cents. That's too much. So we can use 1 quarter, which gets us to 25. We're trying to get to 37. Let's see if we can use a dime next. 25 plus 10 would give me 35, so I can use 1 dime. If I try to use 2 dimes, that would take me to 45. That's too much. So we can use 1 dime. That gets me to 35. If I tried to use a nickel, that would put me at 40, which is too much. So now we're going to try to use pennies to get us to 37 cents. So we're at 25 right here, 35, 36, and 37. And this is what her change should look like. So there's a lot of steps to this problem, but if you just slow it down, think through the process, think through what it's asking you, then you should be able to figure out these problems, okay? If you need any help at all, please feel free to ask, and I'd be more than happy to help. Thanks, guys. Bye.